Over the last 5 years, I've run a marketing agency and we've helped multiple e-commerce brands scale to 8 figures and even 9 figures. And the one difference between those brands that scale and the ones that don't is that the ones that do have a solid retention marketing system in place. Now, what I'm going to share with you today in this video is an analogy about a leaky bucket. And essentially, every e-commerce brand is a leaky bucket, right? You have people coming in, which is, in effect, your water that's coming into the bucket. These are new customers. And then you also have your business, which is the bucket. Now, this business has holes, which is basically meaning that the water that's coming in, the customers are coming in, is leaking out. Now, the scale at which the business can grow, the speed at which it can scale, and the ability for it to scale and sustain that scale at the top is dependent on how well they can plug these holes, okay? That's just one of the reasons. There's obviously other reasons, product market fit, the size of your market, all that stuff. But if we just focus on this to say you have product market fit, you have a product that people actually want, and you're getting new customers quite efficiently, right? You're acquiring them with a profit or break even, and your LTV to CAC ratio is pretty good. If that's the case, then you need to be focusing on plugging the holes that are in this bucket, right? Now imagine you were to plug a lot of these holes, right? It just means that for every new customer that you acquire, the profit on that customer is going to be so much higher. Because if you can keep them in this bucket and you can sell to them again and again and again, your LTV, your customer lifetime value, is going to dramatically increase. And especially if you're thinking of selling your e-commerce brand one day, you want to build enterprise value, LTV is a key metric that investors, the buyers, are looking for. So let's talk about how we can actually plug these holes. Like, how do you actually do this? Well, what most brands overlook is, first of all, email and SMS marketing. It's one of the simplest things that you can start to do and start to do well. So there's other videos on my channel where I go deeper into campaign strategy, flow strategy, pop-up strategy. But let's just even start with the flows, right? And the post-purchase flow. Because as an e-commerce brand, the post-purchase flow is one of the most important flows at increasing lifetime value, right? Post-purchase flow. Now, the way to build an effective post-purchase flow within Klaviyo or any email tool you use, even when it comes to SMS as well, is all about understanding your customer journey. And most e-commerce brands, they don't understand the customer journey. They don't know if someone buys this product, right? This box here, product 1, P1, what product are they most likely to buy next? Okay, and likely if you've been around for a few years, if you have enough customer data, you will know and you'll be able to find trends between the product that people buy first and the product that people buy second, right? Now, it's not going to be the same for every customer, but what we're looking for is the majority, right? If we can find the majority who purchase product 2 after product 1, then we know that, okay, in a post-purchase flow, if someone buys this product first, we need to then sell them this product next, okay? The next question comes in, how long do you wait before you sell this product? Well, that is heavily dependent on the types of products you sell. If you're selling furniture and you're selling someone, a furniture piece that costs $1,000, then you're probably not going to sell someone something else in a week, right? You might want to wait a little bit longer. It also depends on your delivery time, right? If you're selling a custom product that takes 2 weeks to be delivered, you're obviously not going to sell anything in between that period. It's likely going to upset the customer. So inherently, you need to know your customer, you need to know your journey, right? Another data point you can extract if you have enough data is not just what product people purchase next, but how long in between, right? What is the time delay, right? How many days? Once you know this, guess what? Your post-purchase flow in Klaviyo, you set up multiple branches. People purchase product 1. If you know that, okay, roughly 22 days later, people purchase product 2, then guess what? 22 days later into the flow, upsell them product 2, or even earlier, a little bit before that. Okay, so a lot of stuff, like when you break it down like this, it's easy and it makes a lot of sense. But what a lot of brands don't do is they don't invest in getting the data, right? And I would actually invest in someone who knows how to get this data, knows how to extract it, and knows how to analyze it to present them to you in very simple terms. So someone will just come to you and say, okay, if someone purchases this beauty product first, they're going to purchase this second beauty product in 22 days in 62% of cases, okay? That's what we've seen in the correlation. You want someone to come to you with this data, or even just bring it to your marketing team so they can implement it into the flow, right? And when you do that, guess what? You create these personalized flows within the overarching post-purchase sequence for specific products that people have purchased, and you're upselling them right at the time where they're most likely to buy. Okay, when you do that, you create a seamless customer journey, and it doesn't just stop there. You have, the third purchase and the fourth purchase, where you want to convert someone into a subscriber, right? A subscription customer. That's going to increase your LTV much further. So this is just one concept, the post-purchase flow, okay? I want to talk about something else, which is more from a wider retention marketing standpoint. And just to give you some ideas as to how some businesses that I've worked with over the years have basically been able to dramatically increase lifetime value just by installing a few different elements. So the first thing, every time that you ship a product to a customer, right? Products shipped to customer. Every time you send them a package is an opportunity for you to introduce them to another product that you have, right, in your product range, or you get them to try, a new flavor. Basically, it's an opportunity for you to get them to buy something else. And you're paying to ship the product to the customer. Most e-commerce brands nowadays offer free shipping. Doesn't mean that the shipping's free for you, right? You're still paying the shipping carrier to get the package to the customer. Now, make the most of that, right? In your product, what you should do is you should have these inserts, these physical cards. And on that card is something like, hey, did you know that we have X flavor? Or, hey, we really hope you enjoy our serum. You know what's perfect with the serum is the moisturizer. Okay, you upsell complementary products. And in most cases, people don't do this either because it's work or they feel like you're going to annoy customers by trying to sell them something else. If you have a great product, which you should, it is your obligation to sell customers on that same product because they're just going to buy something else that's maybe not as good. So take the opportunity, introduce them to the product, and then what you do is you include a QR code, which basically they scan, and guess what? It takes them right back to the product page to buy. Or you might say, by the way, did you know that you can get this same product 20% cheaper? How? You subscribe and save, right? And guess what? Here's a QR that goes to the page to just subscribe and save. And that's it. The key here is personalization, right? Don't send something that is just a generic thing because customers see right through it. So personalize the inserts to the customer depending on the product that they purchased, okay? This is the key. And yes, it takes work and it's going to cost you some money. But once you figure it out, like what customers are buying in terms of what you send them on the insert and what product they're buying next, you're going to start to see, again, your LTV is going to start to increase. So that's just one more idea. Loyalty programs is another thing. And most e-commerce brands, they don't do loyalty programs right. They install some software like Loyalty Lion and they just kind of set it and forget it, right? Most loyalty programs are not that exciting. Let's just be honest. So one thing that we found, especially if you have a subscription-based business, if you're subscribe and save customers, and you have people who are going to cancel, right? Because this is like a different part of the business. Let's just say, for example, you have a subscription offer, right? It's an amazing way to increase LTV. Subscription customers basically means you can get an inherently higher lifetime value, depending on the price point, of course, that you're selling. However, what happens when people want to cancel? You allow people to cancel in their account. The cancellation process is somewhat easy. Cool. But most brands just let people cancel and leave. Maybe they ask them a question on the way out, like, why do you want to cancel? Or how would you improve the service or the product that we offered? And you get some feedback, which is good. Some brands don't even do that. So that is a good starting point. But what we have found is a great way to win customers back and actually stop cancellations is you say, hey, did you know that you have $30 in credits that you've accumulated over the time that you've been a subscriber? And you say, we can apply this $30 to your next 3 orders. Do you want us to apply it? And what's the customer going to do? In most cases, they're going to say, okay, yes, right? Because maybe every time they order, they're spending $50. Now they get $10 off every order. This is just one idea. You could do something else with these credits. And customers will be like, wow, I didn't even know I had these credits. And it's up to you whether you make that known to the customer in the first place, or you just accumulate the credits in the background and you do a calculation based on what they've spent over their lifetime as a customer. But you can test these different amounts as well, right? Try giving them more, try giving them less. Look at the conversion rate, right? And see what is a sweet spot amount that gets people to come back and continue as a subscriber, okay? And this is huge because if you can decrease the churn of your business, if we just go back to this very first diagram, if you can decrease the churn, guess what? You're plugging these holes. Most businesses should be aiming for a churn rate below 5%, okay? And if you can do that, and the lower you can get it, the more value your business is going to be. And when you're especially looking at selling the business, your enterprise value, your valuation is likely to be higher because of that, okay? So hopefully this video gives you some ideas around how to decrease churn, how to increase retention, increase lifetime value, and just a different way of thinking about retention marketing that most e-commerce brands don't do enough of, okay? If you are looking for someone to do this for you, all this strategy stuff, but actually execute the email and SMS marketing for you, build the flows, copyright and design, all that good stuff, this is exactly what we do for e-commerce brands. We've been doing this for the past 5 years. If that is something you're interested in, there's a link down below. The first one is going to take you to my calendar. You can book a time directly with me. We'll chat about your business and see if we can actually help. Okay, we turn away more business than not. But if we really feel like we can help you, we will do an audit, we'll do a deep dive, we'll do a due diligence, and we'll come back with a strategy as to how things will play out if we move forward. Okay, that's it for this video. Hopefully you enjoyed this one, and I'll see you in the next one.